Jesus speaks of the truth, and Pilate famously responds, "What is truth?" Though traditionally truth has been considered a singular body of knowledge that corresponds to objective reality, for many of our contemporaries, truth has been reduced to little more than a multiplicity of personal opinions. This degradation of the truth is called relativism. Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI warned us repeatedly about what he called the dictatorship of relativism, and his concerns continue to be relevant more than 8 years after his retirement. For example, we can look to the news and see that the overreach of governments proposing and even imposing draconian mandates and the resulting protests by ordinary citizens demonstrate that when objective truth is abandoned, a nation degenerates into a vulgar society in which might makes right, with threats of violence and ultimately even torture itself being used to impose the opinions of the powerful on the masses. The truth of which Jesus speaks in the gospel is not of this world, though it is in this world. Jesus himself is the truth, because in the biblical context, God's revelation, that is, what God tells us, is the truth. The origin of the truth is God himself. And Jesus, who is the incarnate Son of God, sent by God the Father, is the ultimate and complete revelation of God. Jesus is the truth. Jesus communicates God's truth to us by perfectly doing the will of God the Father. It is in Jesus' perfect conformity to God the Father's plan that Jesus lives and manifests his divine sonship. And it is his relationship as the only begotten Son of God the Father that makes Jesus the King of the universe. And so Jesus is truly a king, though not in the way that Pontius Pilate supposes, because Jesus' kingdom and his kingship are not dependent on the raw power of this world, as Caesar's kingship depends. While the kingship of Jesus is not of this world, it is to some extent present in this world. The Catholic Church has been established by Jesus to advance his kingship, rescuing souls from Satan, who Jesus himself repeatedly called the ruler of this world. Though with each passing year it is being suppressed or even denied by Christians, including priests and even bishops, the values of this fallen world are not the values of Jesus Christ entrusted to the church. Jesus Christ, our King, desires that out of gratitude for the salvation he offers to each human being by becoming children of God through the waters of baptism, each Christian will dedicate himself or herself to living by the objective moral law revealed simply and concretely in the Ten Commandments, and then clarified and fortified through the teaching and example of Jesus. Especially relevant would be the rigorous prohibitions on idolatry, murder, and adultery, and all these sins broadly understood to include less literal yet related sins, including the love of money, holding grudges, and pornography. This is not an easy task. Many people, including many of the baptized and even some of our leaders, will make you suffer for living the objective moral law as you sincerely believe it and understand it to have been given by God himself. We will be punished for not wanting to compromise with the ruler of this world. But we should have known that this was coming. Jesus Christ, the King of the universe himself, was publicly humiliated, tortured, and murdered for his failure to compromise when he was face to face with the raw power of both the government and religious leaders of his time. And as the Good Shepherd has led, we, his faithful flock, must follow. If we can reasonably hope to share in the glory that Jesus will manifest when he returns as judge of the nations, we must reasonably share in the humiliation and suffering imposed by the rulers of this world who have sold out to the ruler of this world. That they have sold out is not shocking, given that one of the 12 completely sold Jesus, and most of the others made shameful compromises with evil, abandoning Jesus to the ruler of this world in his time of greatest need. Let us not be among those who sell out or even compromise with evil. If we are to resist the threats and remain faithful to Christ the King, it will only be because of God's grace. Let us cling to Jesus' example and his teaching and receive the sacraments he provides so that we may remain faithful. If we stumble, we will confess our sins and receive absolution. And while in the state of grace, we will receive his body and blood, soul and divinity worthily, and with the strength of that heavenly food, we will live the truth given to us by Jesus Christ our King.